So online people, am I audible? So online, am I audible? Okay, right. Okay. So I apologize for late. So some technical issue for live. Sir, you know what happened in 2023 CSAT paper? That is not a good lesson for not only for students, for teachers also. Okay, boss. So give me some half an hour to 35 minutes. Then I will tell you what to do, what not to do. Then we will solve some sample questions, how to approach and all this thing. All ready? Right. So total how many questions are there? Total 80 questions. Just only 2 minutes I will write it. Then next slide we will start the actual CSAT. So each questions carrying 2.5 marks. Total mark in this paper is 200 marks. But it is a qualifying paper. We don't require the entire 200 mark. That means how much mark we needed to qualify. So to qualify, that if you are unable to hear audio, no sound. Sound is not coming. But somebody is typing something. Audible right away. So to qualify, we need a 66.67 mark. But to score this much mark itself, you know what happened in this year. Okay, boss. But negative mark is there. So if you make one wrong answer, then they will deduct a 0.83 mark. Okay, boss. To get this much mark, we need approximately 27 questions must be correct. It doesn't mean remaining questions are wrong. Minimum 27 question has to be correct. Understood, boss? So this is the outline. Okay, boss. Just listen. 2011 to 2014 and 2015 onwards. First, we will discuss about the syllabus. Syllabus means I will not going to write all the topics name. You see, last some 2 to 3 years, many students are skipping some topics and they will select some of the topics, including me also to teach at the time. Understood? Now, in the next slide, I will display. Then you yourself will say, can we skip some topics or not? Ready? So since 2011 CSAT introduced 11 to 14, the question they asked from comprehension, logical reasoning, analytical ability, critical reasoning, then decision making and interpersonal skill. This is one area. What is another area? They asked question from GMA and basic numeracy. But what happened up to 2014? Some of the section of the peoples are not comfortable with the passages and English. So what happened from 2015 onwards? It becomes qualifying. It is qualifying. But you see what changes in the syllabus. It is mere qualifying and the syllabus is given in the whenever they are advertising, same thing they are advertising. Decision making and interpersonal skill. But what they made, they are not removed anything from the syllabus, but they made silent of decision making. They made silent in interpersonal skill. That means they are not officially removed from the syllabus. Still every year whenever they are advertising, this entire thing is there. But they stopped asking question from decision making and IR. So 2015 onwards, they start asking question from here only. Understood? The next area, this is GMA and the basic numeracy. Getting this what I am saying? It becomes only merely qualifying. And the syllabus is as it is same. But they are not, if they make it qualified, they has to remove this part. But they are not removed. It is still in the syllabus. But they made silent. No question since 2015. They asked only question from critical, logical and analytical and comprehension, and here GMA and basic numeracy. Whatever I am going to teach, this two area only I am going to teach. This area will cover by other person. Understood? Next 1 hour, I am going to give you all introduction about CSAT, only this area. Then another teacher will come and give you detail about this area. I will never speak about this area. Understood this? Understand? Now listen. You see what happened in 11 to 14 in GMA. Is it visible or can I make it maximize? Backside. Now you see, since 2011 to 14, generally they focused in calendar, blood relation, non-verbal reasoning and missing character in the diagram. And the questions are very straightforward questions. It is not mingled with other topic. And many of the questions are SSC and banking level. Many of the questions here. In 2015 to 20, so you see, they included same calendar, same blood relation they asked, same missing character, but they removed this. Why? Because it is very easy to attempt, it is very difficult to eliminate the people. This topic becomes silent, but they added the extra topic. You see, clock, coding, decoding, set theory, series completion, direction problem. Since 15 to 20, you know why 15 to 20? It's qualifying. Here, whatever 11 to 14, whatever mark you are scoring here, that is part of your selection. Understood? So that's why I separated like this. So here up to here, your mark is a part of the selection. From here to here, it is a qualifying. Here also qualifying. So 15 to 20, if you are comfortable in this topic alone, then you can minimum 10 to 15 questions you can able to score it. Understood this? What some student done? So now they generalized. Direction every year will come. Okay, but 2023, you know what happened there. Understood? Then you see here in 2021 onwards, they retained clock and calendar, blood relation. Many of the topics retained, but one extra topic added here, cutting off the dice. Understood? Now tell me, which topic in GMA we have to skip it? Here only 4, some topics added, here some topics added. Now with that means we cannot skip any topics in GMA. You see here. It's here. That means no other choice. We have to study all the topics in GMA. Total 13 topics are there. We have to study all the 13 topics. Out of 13 topics, calendar, clock, set theory, and cutting off dice. These 4 topics required heavy concept. If you take remaining topics, they are very light concept. It is easy to, you can study anybody. Understood? But in 2021 onwards, they are not merely asking question from calendar. They started interlinking within the topics. Now in 2023, they are interlinking topics with other topics. In calendar, they used reminder theorem in 2023. Understood? But don't decide the trend or pattern based upon the previous year questions only. We have to ready for all the topics, no other choice. Otherwise, one more year we have to wait, then we have to go to court to reduce the cutoff mark. Understood? So only these 4 topics, it required a heavy concept. Rest are very easy to attempt it. Okay, this takes minimum 3 class, minimum 2 class, minimum 2.5 to 3 class, minimum 2 class. This 4 topic alone, minimum you will get 10 classes, minimum. Understood? So total 13 topics, without skipping any topics, you must read. If you are comfortable, minimum 8 to 10 questions. I am talking about the minimum. Minimum 8 to 10 questions from here. Most of the years. Okay? Now come to basic numeracy. Can we skip any topic or not? Okay, boss. So after seeing last 2 to 3 years question, now some of the people are saying, sir, we have to study only 3 topics: permutation, probability, number system. That 3 are sufficient. But next year they may change anything. You see how the topics changed in basic numeracy. You see here. Since 2011 to 14, you know this stage? 15 to 25 questions they asked from basic numeracy. Understood, boss? Right. In 11 to 14, rarely they asked a question from permutation and probability. Rarely. 1 or 2 questions. In number system, they asked 3 to 5 questions. And they focus in traditional topic like ratio, average, speed, time and distance, rank and time and work. Traditional topics. Understood, boss? But after it becomes qualifying, now slowly permutation and probability becomes mandatory. Compulsory question 3 to 5 questions. And number system, that they increase the question 6 to 8. And in 15 to 20, what they done, they asked most of the topics minimum 1 question. That means you cannot skip the topics. Some of the topics you see here also rank, there also rank. Here also time and work, there also time and work. But you see extra topics, profit and loss, this allegation, this trend, like that of topic, extra topic added. But they retained this topic, but something added extra. What happened in 21 onwards? Listen carefully. Permutation, combination and probability, 8 to 10 questions. You see how here it is rarely they will ask, it's a mandatory. Here slowly they made it compulsorily. Now they are dominating here. In number system also, 3 to 5 questions. Here 6 to 8 questions. And here 10 to 12 questions. Understood, boss? And you see the remaining topics, they asked rank, time and work, ages. So for here, since 2011, not a single question they asked from simple interest. Only 1 year they asked a question from compound interest. But in 2023, don't worry, don't copy. I will paste this in your chat box. Understood, boss? So don't worry. Now, but in 2023, they asked 1 question. They are not asking separately simple interest. They are not asking separately compound interest. They merged the simple and compound and they asked only 1 question. Sir, sound aa raha hai. Acha. Are you understood this? Now tell me which topic you can skip here. You cannot skip. Are you understood this, boss? That means, listen, boss. No other choice. You have to study all these 21 topics. This 3 is my number system, permutation and probability. Then the next base will be percentage. If you are comfortable in percentage, then profit and loss, simple and compound interest are application topics of percentage. Then if you are comfortable in ratio, the application topic is ages. In my class, be a good listener. Otherwise, if you watch any book publishing in India or you watch any video in India, they are one-way teacher. So in our class, we will teach you why not. Understood? So be a good listener in the class. I will slowly build the concept for you. Understood? After I finish next 40 minutes, then you will never ever ask up to future, can I attempt first comprehension or can I attempt basic numeracy? You will never ask which source you have to prepare. Understood? So 40 minutes, be a good listener. Many in this after CSAT qualifying, the young generations are not a listener. That is why they are paying the price in the CSAT. Understood? So listen carefully. Then if you are comfortable in average, the application topic is allegation. If you are comfortable in percentage, ratio and average, then nothing will be there in the data interpretation. Understood? Then the heavy concept is speed, time and distance. Its application topic is a train, boat, race. The next heavy topic is time and work. Its application topic is pipes and tanks. Most of the years they are asking question from rank. And some years they are asking progression. Data sufficiency is very important for answering any topic questions. In data sufficiency, They will include all the GMA topics. They will include all the basic numeracy. Understood this? That means in GMA 13 topics, in basic numeracy 21 topics, total how much? 34 topics. You cannot skip any topics. Understood, boss? So far what I told you, you cannot skip any topics. Understood, boss? Totally silent. That means you realized we have to study every topics. Then somebody will ask, sir, how can I study? Can I study SSC banking level? Can I study CAT level? Because after 2023 paper, many students coming out of the examination hall and they are giving interview in TV or newspaper. These questions are belongs to CAT level. And I asked them, are you prepared CAT? No. Then how do you know it belongs to CAT level? Understood? So we are ready to study for every topic, sir. In what standard or level we have to study. Are you ready now? Listen carefully. Can I prepare each topic in SSC or banking level? Why somebody asking SSC or banking level? Many topics in SSC or banking, the same topics are there in CSAT. Understood? Sir, can I prepare this CSAT in CAT level? Whatever the topics are there in CAT, most of the topics are in CSAT. Understood? Then can I prepare CSAT separately? They will ask like this. The topics are, most of the topics are same from here to here. Then where they are different from this two? In two ways. Attention carefully. Either in the formatting of questions or in options. In this two way, CSAT is different from SSC and CAT level. Sir, how they are different in questions? You will ask like that. Nowadays, many of the questions are statement based questions. That means statement 1 this information, statement 2 this information, statement 3 like that, statement based information. Otherwise, even some of the questions are not only interlinking with themselves, and they are interlinking with other topics. They are not asking now straightforward. Only some questions are there. Some questions are interlinking with other topics. This year in 2023, so we will teach the calendar topic 2.5 to 3 classes. Then I will ask everybody, go and see anywhere, whoever teaching. But you know, in 2023, they asked one question, they merged calendar with number system. That's what about. Today is Sunday, and what is the day on 10 power 10th day? That means we have to apply the remainder theorem there. That is why earlier they are interlinking within the topics, subtopics. Now they started interlinking with other topics. Understood this? In this way, they are different from this. Then in each question, too much information are given in the question. That means after reading one time, we are unable to comprehend what is given. We have to read again. In this three way, it is different from SSC and CAT. Understood? That means we have to study each topic in other dimension. Understood? You see how they are different in option. Earlier, they given traditional options. How they given traditional options? Either in terms of percentage form or ratio form or in average form. Like what does it mean? 20. B is 15%. See, like this a traditional form they given the option. Cannot be determined or none of this. Are you understand this? So at the time, the whatever the other some people are teaching, they will go by option method. They will use the cheat code and everything. At the time, it is helpful for you. But now the way they are making the option, sir, how they are making the option? You see here, next slide. Now, the options are, listen, statement based option. Not only questions are statement based, options also statement based. Sir, in what way they are asking? They will ask which of the above statement are correct. Like this option they are asking. Or how many statements are sufficient to answer the question? In this way they are making the option. Then another option. So statement 1 alone sufficient to answer the question. Statement 2 alone sufficient to answer the question. After merging both the statement, you are able to answer the question or not able to answer the question. Like this they will ask. But you see, in 2023, one question they asked. You see here, I will show you the option, how they created the option. This is the traditional statement 1 alone is sufficient to answer the question. Statement 2 only, it is very easy to understand. You see option C, both the statement 1 and 2 are required to answer the question. Next D option, neither statement 1 alone or statement 2. This is traditionally they are asking. But you see what they done in one option, you see here. You see option A. You understand? In this way, they are different from SSC banking and CAT. Topic is same. They are also percentage SSC banking. CAT also same percentage topic is there. In CSAT also same percentage topic is there. But in what way they show the difference? In formatting the question and in options. You see the options. You see this. Some student, they are unable to understand what is the meaning of this. You see that? Then what is another way they made the option? You see here. Then they asked how many values for x the answers are possible. They are asking like this. They are not asking find the value of x. That's the traditional way of answering the question, asking the question. But how many value for x are possible? Like that they are asking in option. That is why here solving by option method not working. Solving by cheat code or whatever the code somebody claiming. So that is not working all this here. Understood this was? Understand this? Now we have to earlier, if you have the base of SSC banking and CAT, you can easily attempt CSAT questions. Now using that background, you cannot attempt now. Now what is that? First, if you know now, if you are preparing now CSAT, that will give base for SSC banking and CAT. Like that they change the trend. Understood? Not understood? Understand? That means we have to familiar in all the topics. Why? Because questions are interlinking with other topics. If you are skipping some topics, then if questions are interlinking with other topics, then how can you familiar that? Many students, after they see the question, they don't know this question belongs to which topic. Why? Because they are skipping some of the area. Understood? So familiar in all the topic means don't skip any topics in CSAT. Understood? Next, you need clarity in concept in every topic. Then you need know how to read the questions. Why? Many students, they are spending less time in reading the question and they are spending more time in answering the question. The way you read the question, then half work is done. Understood? The question will speak to you. I am having this information. Using this information, if you approach me, then I will give the quickest answer. Understood or not understood? Understood? Totally silent. But what we will do? We will quickly read like this. Then we will spend more time and answer the question. Understood? So when you can read the question or you can feel the question, the way you are having clarity in concept. If you don't have clarity in concept, you cannot feel the question. Understood this was? So far, anybody want to ask anything? That means in GMA, no skipping. 13 topics you have to study. basic numeracy, all the 21 topics. Don't skip any single topic. Understood? Can I prepare SSC level? Can I prepare a CAT level, or can I prepare separately CSAT level? You know, you have to study the CSAT differently. You know why I wrote the reason here. Understood or not understood? Sir, you told us so far, don't skip any topic. Okay, sir. Sir, you have to study the CSAT different dimension. We are ready to study, sir. But what is the source for study? You will ask like this. Are you understood? Not understood this. What is the source, sir? Can I purchase this, that, or watch the YouTube? You will ask like that. You see here, next slide. What some student will do, 10 days or 20 days before the preliminary examination, they will take all the previous year questions and they will solve the questions. Sir, I am prepared. So is this previous solving only previous year question is sufficient to qualify? Yes, not for everybody. For some people only. But they are generalizing to everybody. If you are not reading the topic or not having clarity in concept, if you totally depend upon only previous year questions, what will happen? Listen carefully. You can familiarize about the topic. Okay, boss. That means in this topic, these are the questions are there. But in some topics, one question so far they asked. In some topics, some 4 to 5 questions they asked. That means so far since 2011 up to 2023, UPSC asked all the concept related to that topic. No. Understood? That means if you depend only on previous year questions, you cannot get clarity in concept. And you cannot, you will not know about all the subtopic in that topics. For example, if you take number system, in number system, many subtopics are there. If you follow only previous year questions, if UPSC asked questions in number system from all the types of questions, then you can follow only previous year questions. But in some subtopics they asked, in somewhere they are not asked. That means depending only on previous year questions, it will make you familiarize, but it cannot give you full clarity in that topic. Understood or not understood? So you cannot prepare CSAT with the previous year questions alone. You cannot study. That is not suitable for everybody. Understood this? And you don't know which interpretation I can prefer, which interpretation I have to avoid it. That you cannot learn from the previous year questions. Are you understood this? So you cannot trust previous year questions alone for preparing entire CSAT. Are you understood this? Sir, can I purchase any quant book or like that quantitative aptitude book? Or can I purchase any CSAT manual to prepare my entire CSAT? You will ask like this. This quant book is, if you see this too, plus I will write one more. YouTube channel. Now it is flooded in India, not only in India, in entire YouTube. If anybody knows something, their only first work is to open the YouTube channel to teach the CSAT or aptitude. Understood? Sir, can I depends upon this too? Compared to previous year question alone, if you prefer this too, then you can get know all the subtopics in this. Sorry. You can familiarize about the subtopics in all the topics. Understood? Then you can familiarize about interlinking within the topics, not other topics. They will interlink one topic questions with in the same topic, but not this topic with that topic. Are you understood or not understood? And you will get one-way teaching only in this. If you interact with this or this, they will never say why not. If you need why not, sir, I'm thinking in this dimension. why I cannot attempt the question like this, they will not interact with you. Understood? They only will teach whatever the interpretation they knows. But you will think, sir, I am not reading the question in this way. I am reading the question like this. Why I cannot attempt the question like this? Understood or not understood? Understand? That means depends upon the previous question alone, not a good source. Any quantum book, because they are traditional, in traditional way you can follow this. Calculation based. But CSAT manual, I apologize. I will switch out. So these two are also not sufficient for us, and previous year question alone not sufficient for us. Then what you will do? Listen, boss. Your class notes. Why? Your class notes will give you full clarity in concept. Then we will solve previous year questions. Then whatever the YouTube channel, whatever the book or CSAT manual, everything will be covered here. After we finished one topic, sir, then you can compare this with other any manual, then you know why you need the class notes. Understood this, boss? It was silent. Understood, boss? Plus, sir, after seeing the number, I will get a dengue fever. That means I am not comfortable in numbers. If, sir, I was out of touch after 10th standard, I was out of touch after 12th standard, in area I am not studied. Like that, if you feel, then NCERT book. From 6th standard to 10th standard. 11th standard permutation combination, I will tell you what are the page numbers. Understood? So, this if you are mathematically weak. Otherwise, this is sufficient. Understood? But if you are depends upon this NCERT will give you base only for basic numeracy, not a single topics from GMA. One topics in GMA it will cover, that is called set theory or Venn diagram. Are you understood or not? Understood? For rest of the topics, blood relation, calendar, cutting of dice, coding, decoding, missing character in the diagram, direction, non-verbal reasoning, this all you will not get it in NCERT. You will not get it. Understood? This NCERT will provide the base for basic numeracy alone. Understood or not understood? All understand? So far what I said to you, you cannot skip any topics. Sir, in which level I have to prepare? I taught already. What is the source for me to prepare? I told already. Are you understood or not understood? You're totally silent. Acha. Are you myself only speaking? Sir, I prepared everything. Now, how can I revise it? You will ask like that. Because many students, sir, CSAT, what is that to revise it? The way you are spending time to study the topics, equivalent to that, you have to spend time for revising the topics also. If you are not revising the topics, then only you will think about, sir, it's a time consuming, lengthy paper. You see the explanation, what students will say, time consuming, lengthy paper. I don't have space to write in the questions, in the question paper. Understood? So you have to revise properly. Sir, what to revise? In what way I have to revise? You will ask like this. So you can revise the concept. Whatever we are teaching in the classroom, you have to revise all the concepts from the class notes. Then what you have to do, after you finish the revision of concept, you have to take a synoptics, or somebody will say mind map or flow chart. Whatever the format you want to take the synoptics, you can take it. When you can able to take a diagram or synoptics, if and only you felt the topics, then only you can able to take the synoptics or the diagram. If you are not felt the topic, then you will rewrite whatever we taught same as it is. Understood? Whatever topics you are studying, you have to feel what you read. If you are not feeling, then after some days, any subject changes, topic changes, you forgot what you read already. Then next, while revision, if you are facing any doubt, you have to note down in the packet diary. Understood, boss? That means take the one small diary and write the topic and write the subheading. These are the things you have to imagine based upon that. Understood? Whatever you are facing doubt, you have to note down the doubt. Plus, I will come back again. What some student will say, sir, I know this topic, I know the concept, but while solving the question, I am unable to solve it. Understood? That means you are unable to apply the concept whatever you studied. Then what is the use of it? Sir, I attended a class, I revised everything, but whenever I am seeing the question, I am unable to solve the question, then what is the use of it? Are you understand, boss? So, how can you apply the concept? Through the practice only. Practicing what? Practicing questions. First, what you have to do? Solve the same questions whatever we solved in the class. Why not? Then solve the previous year questions. Then solve test questions. In this way, you have to practice every day. And one more thing is there, while practicing the questions, very important now, listen carefully. Whichever the questions you are unable to attempt, okay, boss? In which topic and which subtopic I am unable to attempt, you have to note down here. And sir, I attempted the question, but it went wrong. That question and that question you have to type it here. Sir, some questions I know how to attempt it, but it is consuming some time. If you are consuming time to solve, you have less clarity in concept. This three, whatever the questions, some question is there, sir, not able to attempt, that you have to write it. Whenever you are revising, you have to solve that question. If, sir, I attempted the question, it went wrong, you have to type that question here. Sir, it is consuming time, you have to type that question here. Whenever you are revising, you have to follow this thing. Understood? Are you understand this? Yes, please. You have to revise the concept. Sir, what is the concept? You will say like that. You will see here. What most of the India CSAT they will teach in two ways. They will display the questions. Through the questions, they will teach the topic. They will solve the questions. They will display the questions. They will solve it and they will teach the topics. If you do like that, in one question, how many concepts are there? That many questions we are unable to solve in the class duration. So we will not do like this. First, whether you knows or not knows, we will teach the topics first, all the basic things. Then we will solve the questions. Here, while teaching the topic, I will give you all the concept related to that topics. Understood, boss? Then we will solve the questions. Understood, boss? So this concept you have to revise whenever you are making the revision time. Are you understood this, boss? And whatever the mistakes you are doing, you have to remember the mistakes. So remembering mistake is very, 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 very important. If you are not remembering the mistake, the same mistake will repeat again and again. Understood, boss? I totally silent. Understood. So for what I finished? So what are the topics you have to study? What level you have to study? And so what is the source to study? After you finished, then how to revise it? We done like that. Now listen. Sir, I am ready with everything. Now you are seeing the questions. Question paper questions. What many students are facing? Sir, after seeing the question, I am not familiar with the questions. Some students don't know that this questions belongs to which topic. They are not familiar with the question. And in that topic means I don't know it belongs to which subtopic. Somebody will think, sir, the questions are lengthy. You see the complaint this 2023. And options are very tricky this time. This time, generally, students will say like this. These three problems they will face. If you see one question, either you don't know, sir, it's I'm not familiar with the question. Sir, it's too lengthy. I don't know what to do. Sometimes they will do options are very tricky. Understood? Boss? Leave this part. If you address this part, if you focus here, then automatically this problem will be solved. Understood? Boss? So how some students saying, sir, I am not familiar with the question. Why? They skipped some topics, or they are not revised properly, or they are not revised UPSC standard questions. Totally silent. Or they don't know which interpretation they have to skip it, which interpretation they have to choose it. That is why they are facing these two problems. If you address these two problems, then this will be nothing. You will never say, sir, you will never think about option first. You will think about the way you read the question. You are saying one question, which makes you to attract to read the question. If you are familiar with the topic, then only your eyes will further proceed to read the questions. If you are not at all familiar with the topic, you are skipped the topic, then by seeing the question, then, so I don't know, skip it. Understood? So try to familiarize in every topic in CSAT. Understood? Don't ever skip any single topic. Understood this, boss? Then what some student will ask? Sir, can I first attempt comprehension or passages, or can I first attempt GMA and basic max portion or passage portion? They will ask like this. It depends upon the person to person. Understood this, boss? Somebody, sir, I am very comfortable in passages. Start with that. Sir, I am very comfortable in aptitude. You start with that. Understood? Sir, I will see the pages, then I will skip passages, then I will first jump to GMA basic numeracy. You do that. Then how do you decide which is suitable for you? While writing the test. The more you write the test, based upon your clarity and concept, based upon your practice, if you attempt this or this, what is the maximum number of questions you are attempting, and which is accuracy is more, you decide based upon that. Understood or not understood? All are understood this? It is because every year the students will ask like this, sir, can I attempt this first or can I attempt this first? It does not depends upon the teacher. It depends upon who you are. Are you understood this, boss? Understand? Next lesson. Oh. Next, what some students will ask while attempting the questions. While attempt the questions, they are facing this problem. What is this problem? Sir, my speed is less. Sir, time consuming is more. They will say like this. Sir, somebody will say, sir, space is not there to solve the question in the question paper. Understood? Don't ever in the beginning time or in the initial stages, don't think about your speed and the time. Understood? For example, total how many questions in CSAT? 80 questions. Out of 80 questions, we need to qualify 40 plus questions sufficient. Minimum. So 40 questions in 2 hours, 120 minutes. That means per questions minimum 3 minutes. But don't generalize each question same time. Some questions by seeing this you can get the answer. Some questions you do 1 or 2 calculation or mental calculation, you will get the answer. So don't generalize the time limit for every questions. Because some student will ask, sir, can I consume each question? How much time I have to take? And that depends upon your clarity in concept. That depends upon the way you practice it. Understood or not understood? Do you understand this? That means in the initial stages, your focus must be how you read the questions. And your focus must be using the given information, which interpretation I have to prefer. Then think about the accuracy. In the beginning days of the preparation, don't focus in speed, don't focus in time. The more you practice it, automatically speed will decrease. Speed will increase it and time will decrease it. Understood, boss? Then you don't require more space to write because your mind will calculate automatically. Understood this, boss? Hey, totally silent. Whatever I will say, anybody facing like this problem? Acha. Right, okay. Then most important thing, while attempting the questions, which question you have to skip it. That is very, very important because negative mark is 0.83. Understood? And which questions you have to attempt now, which questions in later time you can solve. And if you are attempting any questions, if you are going to skip one question, immediately highlight it, cancel it. If you are able to attempt the question now, immediately mark it in the OMR paper. Why? Some students, they will tick in the question before the 2 hours over, they will take it and just copy that answer. They mistakenly put some other questions that answer. So immediately, simultaneously, if you solve the questions, simultaneously you fill it there. And if you are thinking, so I can try these questions later, again second reading, then you have to little bit highlight. You have to cancel it. You say this is finished. In 3 different ways. Why? What some student will do, from the beginning to end, they will go one stretch at a time. So this question attempted like that. Then again the second reading they are coming. Whatever question they solved, they will read it again. It's a waste of time. Some question they will think, sir, I cannot attempt this question. But they will read again one more time. Understood? Alar understood this? So this much is the introduction of the CSAT. First you have to know you cannot skip any topics. Second thing, what level you have to study. Third thing, what is the source to study. Fourth thing, how to revise each topics. Then next thing, while reading the question, what problem you are facing and everything, you have to note it down. Understood? Then in beginning days, you think about the accuracy, not about the speed, not about the time. Understood this? Totally silent. So how can you proceed the class? Listen carefully. First what? First what you have to do? Your class notes. First. Then if you need NCERT, it is optional. Not for everybody. Sir, I purchased the 6th to 10th NCERT, sir. Can I study full 6th standard? Can I study full 7th standard like that? Don't do like this. After some days, you are lost interest in reading the CSAT. For example, I started teaching number system. Related to that topic, you can refer the NCERT. For example, we started teaching percentage. So after I finish the percentage, first revise the class notes, then go and see the NCERT, then you feel attracted to read. Otherwise, you feel burdened to read it. Understood? After some classes, then only you yourself will feel, sir, I don't need NCERT, I don't need other source. I cannot say, you have to feel it. Understood? Next, what you have to do, practice questions. You have to perform this. After you finish this, then previous questions, I'm talking about each topic, not combined. Then you have to write the test. In this way, you have to build each topic. Understood or not? First thing is class notes. Why? Sir, why not NCERT? Why class notes? You will ask like that. Because NCERT or other book, they will not teach for CSAT. Understood? Their motive is not for CSAT students. Understood? So first class notes. Then only you know this is the part of CSAT, this much required, this much not required. Then you have to refer the NCERT. Understood this? Understand? Then the same topics we will give the practice questions, then previous year questions, then each topic test. So in this way you have to build every topics. Understood? And don't ever make the class one-way teaching. If you make the class one-way teaching, then you cannot learn from the class. But don't ask too many questions. I only know what happened in the last batches. Understood? If you ask more questions and everything, it will delay in the end. So many topics will be pending there. Understood? But you ask whatever you want to ask, either in the classroom or in the outside of the classroom. If you are mathematically weak, then you need us. Understood? If you have the fear or something, not only we will demolish the topic inch by inch, we will demolish your fear inch by inch. Understood? Then we have the subtopic wise test also. Then we have sectional wise test. That means GMA test, basic numeracy test, then full test. Sectional test, then full length test. Understood? Understand? So in this way we are going to cover the CSAT. Understood everybody? Now you ask whatever you want to ask. Ask me. Yes, anybody? Yes. Every topic having own structure. So while teaching we will teach by the structural way. Understood? You, while reading the question, you will feel the question. In that way we will teach the concept. If you are, while solving the question, if you are not understand, not feeling, means I am not covering the concept properly. Understood? Ask anything you want to ask. Yes. No. After completing each topic finishing subtopic. Understood? So once I finished one section GMA, then you will get the sectional test. Everything is finished, then you will go for full length test. Last this many years, even my own student also, my student, people will never solve the homework questions. They will never interested to write the test. And they will say, sir, CSAT paper is difficult. Understood? Their mind themselves, they know, sir, or they really practice the question. Or minimum it will take for my section, for GMA and basic numeracy, minimum 40, I apologize, minimum 45 to 50 classes for my topics alone. Understood? So initially I will give 2 hours. Slowly I will extend some 15-20 minutes like this. Understood? Once you get the rhythm in my way of teaching, once you adapt it to the CSAT, then we will increase the little bit of time. I am talking about not for entire CSAT. GMA and basic numeracy, minimum this much. Understood? Understand? Yes. Anybody want to ask? Totally silent. Nothing to ask. Anji. Every exam having its own way of the demand. Understood? Their motive is different. Their way of asking questions is different. But if you prepare for CSAT, it will give you base for other exam. Understood? That we can say. But we cannot say, because if you take SSC and banking level, if you see the value, they will put it in the questions. So for example, while teaching profit and loss, we will teach you profit is 20%. Understand? Because the motive of CSAT is not check the calculation ability. Understood? But what banking people, they will write 17.56%. Converting this into calculation, it's a calculation. It will take some time. Are you understood this part? Where demand is different. CSAT demand is different. Are you understood this? What I am saying? Understood? So same thing for CAT also. Every exam having its own way of interpretation. But if you comfortable in this CSAT, then you will get base in every topic in other examination. Understood this? Yes. Anybody want to ask? Sir, it is necessary to do NCERT. So I told you NCERT, you see I put the star mark. Why? Because This is not for everybody. Sir, after 10th standard, I lost touch in maths. After 12th standard, I lost touch in maths. For that people only NCERT, I said. Not for everybody. After I finished some topics, then you yourself will say, I don't need any source. I cannot say. You yourself will feel it. Sir, it is sufficient. Understood what I am saying was? Yes. Any other questions, sir? So what somebody typing in online? Yes, any other anybody want to ask? Sir, I have some questions on the online batch CSAT where I can reach out. So yes, if you people are a regular class, then after the class or before the class, you can meet us and you can ask clarify the doubt. Don't prolong the doubt. After we finished one topic, then while practicing, note down the doubt. Don't remember the doubt. Clarify the doubt before going to next topic. If you are in online, I will give you time for clarifying the doubt in online before the class or after the class. Sir, which month? What is that? Boss, we are starting. That means 28th July we are starting. That means it's already over July. That means August, September. In October end we will finish it. Understood, boss? Yes. Anybody want to ask? Yes. You see this year, 2023, we will see some questions. You see here how they asked. So in my class, I taught like this. Right. I discussed this question like this question in the class. Can you see the questions? A bell ring every 18 minutes. And a second bell ring every 24 minutes, third bell ring every 32 minutes. And if all the three bells are ringing at the same time at 8 o'clock in the morning, at what other time will they all ring together? This three bell, the first bell, every 18 minutes it will ring. Next bell, every 24 minutes it will ring. Next bell, every 32 minutes will ring. What is the minimum possible time these three bell are ringing together? Minimum possible time is synonymous to LCM. So we will take the LCM of this three, then we will solve the question. But you see what this year UPSC asked. You read the question. There are three traffic signals. Signals are changing like this. Red, then green. First signal takes 25. Second signal like this. Third signal like that. You see the question asks what? The duration for the green to red color are the same at 2 p.m. Then together turn green next simultaneously. You understand the question? Tell me what is the difference between previous question I displayed and this question is 2023 UPSC questions. What is the difference in this? Anji? Totally silent. Here, what is the LCM of 18, 24 and 32? So we have to take the LCM. So I will teach you how to calculate HCM and LCF. So LCM of this will be, what is LCM? I asked what is LCM. You are saying abbreviating the LCM. You understand the difference? I asked what is LCM. You are abbreviating. Leave it. So now how can you derive the LCM? Either bigger number is your LCM, one of the method, or multiple of bigger number is going to be the LCM. That means is 32 is exactly divided by this number. No, 32 is not your LCM. Multiple of 32 is your LCM. For example, LCM of this is 288 minutes. For example, 288 minute means how many hours? 1 hour 60 minutes. 288 minute means how many hours? 4 hours, then 48 minutes. That means every 4 hours 48 minutes they will ring together. Are you understand this? Earlier they are ringing at what time? When they are ringing at earlier. Again they will ring at what time? After 4 hours 48 minutes. So 8 a.m. plus 4 hours 48 minutes. What you will get? Are you understand this? But you see what they asked in 2023. You see here. In 2023, they ask like this. You see here, there are 3 different signals. Each signal changes color from green to red. That means you have to go from green to red. Understood of us? The first bell, what is the first signal? Then from red to green. So green to red, then red. Are you understood this? You see, the first signal takes 25 seconds. 25 seconds. Next takes 39 seconds. Next takes 60 seconds. Understood? For what? To change the color from green to red. So here 3 signals are there. One is changing every 25 seconds. Another is every 39 seconds. Another is every 60 seconds. Are you understand? What is the time taken for this 3 signals? Simultaneously, they will shift from here to here. That is LCM. So what is the LCM of this 3? So I will teach you later on the LCM topic. That is 3900. That means every 3900 seconds, they are changing from green to red simultaneously. Are you understand this? They are changing the signal from green to red simultaneously. But what is asked in the question? What is asked? The duration for green to red colors are the same at 2 p.m. That means at 2 p.m. they are shifting from here to here. Then what is asked in the question? When they together turn green, next. Green means you have to come here. From here to here 3900 seconds. Again from here to here same 3900 seconds. Totally silent. From here to here takes 25 seconds. From here to here takes the same 25 seconds. For here, from here to here 39 seconds. From here to here 30 means here also 60. Here is 3900 means here also how many seconds? 3900. 3900 plus 3900 how much? 78. After every 78 seconds they will come here to here. From here they will come to same here after they moving here. That means 2 times they are going here there like this. Are you understood this? You see how they asked some other questions. You see this? You see these questions? 3 of the 5 positive integers. That means these are all 5 positive integers. Out of this, 3 are even and 2 are odd. Are you understood this? 3 are even and 2 are odd. Okay, but not necessarily in that order. What is the meaning of that? That means it is not first 3 are even, next 2 are odd. It is not like that. Any 2 may be odd, any 3 may be even. Are you understood this? Then the question asks P plus Q plus R minus S minus T. This is very, very important. Definitely even. That means you choose any 2 is odd, any 3 is even. But the answer must be in the even number. This is very important step. Are you understood this? You are doing plus minus here and multiply. Listen, if you add even number plus even number, your answer is an even number. Are 4 plus 6 is 10 even number. If you add odd plus odd, you will get odd number. If you add even number plus odd number, you will get odd number. You will get odd with even, you will get same odd number. Are you understood this? It's totally silent. Are 2 plus 4, sorry, 3 plus 4, how much? 7 means odd number. 9 plus 10, 19 odd number. That means if it is even means you will get even. Sorry, I apologize, this is even. Odd means what? Even. Understood? I apologize, I wrongly wrote. Now both are same, it is what? Even. They are different, it must be what? Odd. Not only for plus, for minus also. That means even number minus even number, what you will get? For example, 20 here, 10 here. For example, 20 minus 10 how much? Again it becomes even number. Odd minus odd, what you will get? Same even. Sir, for example, 5 here, 3 here. What you will get answer? Even number. So if both are same, you must get even number irrespective of plus or minus. Are you understood this? But if you do even with odd or odd with even, then you will get what? Are you understand that? You see how we have to solve. Otherwise, somebody will randomly assuming some value for this. Waste of the time. Listen carefully. For example, you see here P plus Q plus R minus S minus T. Listen to us. So I am assuming this is even, 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 odd, odd. Are you ready? I'll change the color. Even plus even. What do you will get? Even plus even. Even. Even plus even. Even. Even plus odd. Odd. Sorry. Even minus odd. Odd. Odd minus odd. Even. You see here. Are you understood this word? So you interchange, sir. This two are odd, sir. This three are even. Answer will be same. Sir, this two are this three are even, sir. This two are odd. Sorry. Answer must be same. What? Are you understand? Yeah, totally silent. So no need for assuming randomly some value. So without that, we can solve in this. Are you understood or not? Understand everybody? All are understand this? So in this way, we will do this. Achha. Sir, how to revise the full CSAT before preliminary examination? So that I told you how to revise it. Understood of us? You have to revise the concept. You have to revise through the questions. Understood of us? Then still if you need before the examination, if time is available, then I will help you to revise quickly. If it is available, not mandatory. Understood of us? Some other person asked, sir, I only know plus minus division. Chetan boss, how to approach the CSAT? So go through from 6th NCERT. No need of that boss. Attend the class, then you know whether you need NCERT or not. Then, sir, it's necessary to solve CDS and NDA. Don't waste the time in the test series. Sir. We will give you all the questions whichever is relevant to your CSAT. Understood? So don't purchase any book and don't waste your time. Understood, boss? Okay. So anything you want to ask? Anji? Anji? What are you saying? Once more, right. You see here, I am writing here odd. Then I am writing here even, even, even. Okay, boss? Now, odd plus odd. What you will get? Even. Okay, even plus even. Even. Even minus even. Even minus even. Even. Even minus even. Definitely the even. Are you understand this? Come to here. For example, I am writing here odd. For example, you write any two. Understood? Then I am writing even, even like this. Understood? Definitely true means what does it mean? Definitely odd means if you choose any two is odd. Any two, it has to satisfy this odd. For example, I am taking Q is odd and T is odd. Now odd, if you are multiplying even number with 2, again it becomes even number. So even plus odd, what you will get? Odd. Odd plus even. Odd. Odd minus even. Odd. Odd plus odd. That means it is not definitely true, it is probably true. Understood or not understood? That means answer is only one because second is wrong. Are you understood or not? Understand? All understand? So anything you want to ask from GME and basic numeracy? Anybody? Okay, silent. Right. Just 1 minute. The comprehension teacher, he will give you introduction of this subject. Then you can. Okay, boss. I will wait for you here. If you have any doubt after the class, you just meet me in the first floor. Okay, boss. Enjoy the remaining day. If you are mathematically weak or something, don't fear of the subject. We will demolish the subject inch by inch. Okay, boss. So after we finish the topic, go and compare any YouTube channel, any CSAT manual, any book publishing in India. Then you know why you want to join with CSAT with RAU'S. Understood, boss? Enjoy the remaining day. Thank you, person. We wait for 2 minutes. A comprehension teacher will come. Anji. Hmm. Hmm.
Better now? Online students, can you hear me now? Okay. So, out of 11 lakh 30,000 students, a final 923 students really got selected out of the whole process. And in this whole situation, you can see the number of people getting rejected at various stages. These three points as such. About 71.3% students get rejected right at the first stage itself. And that is something which should make you understand the relevance and the importance of the CSAT paper for you in the whole process. So a lot of students who over-focus upon general studies, they end up forgetting that CSAT is something which is a qualifying exam, no doubt, but this is an examination which 70% students simply do not qualify. So let's look at other things now. This is the whole structure of your examination. The first rejection stage is your CSAT paper 2. Second rejection stage is your paper 1 of prelims. And then normally students do get rejected in case of these two qualifying papers also. And greatest number of students now would get rejected because of the compulsory English paper. Surprisingly, the students who get rejected in case of this particular examination and cannot get passing marks here are usually students who come from English medium, convent and public schools, CBSE and ICSE. Why? Because when these students look at this question paper of previous years, they get an impression this is something which they can crack easily without even looking at any amount of preparation, and they go almost unprepared for this examination and they get rejected here. After that, let's look at other important stages out here. In case of the mains examination, papers whose marks really get counted, essay paper, your GS 1, 2, 3, 4, your optional subject papers, remember it is the essay paper where you possibly can get an edge above other students. By the time the main examination comes, serious students, they have prepared in such a manner that they almost end up getting the same kind of marks in GS paper 1, 2 and 3. And it is the essay paper or the fourth paper which actually decides whether they'll get a higher score or not. I'll talk about the need for CSAT in the first place. The whole story really started in the 1990s. In the 1990s, economic liberalization happened. Before economic liberalization had happened, the situation in our country was India was a pretty poor developing country, and we had a very thin crust of people who were rich, people who belonged to the middle class. Most of the people belonged to the poor class or the very poor classes. Economic liberalization meant that we started growing economically at such a fast pace that the middle class started swelling up. A lot of people started earning enough to feed themselves and indulge in luxuries also. And the rich people got very rich. We had a lot of high net worth individuals who got created during that time period. So immediately after economic liberalization, there were a lot of changes which happened in this country, and there were a lot of changes which happened which changed the way the country had to be ruled. In the end, it is IAS officers, civil servants who rule the country. And these people realized that there were a newer kind of problems which were emerging in this fast, quick developing country. And all of those problems required novel, creative solutions. And it was found that most of the IAS officers during those stages, they were incapable of solving the newer problems which were coming up in the country. These people were excellent at solving problems of the older India. So when those general regular problems used to happen, they were great at handling them. But they were unable to handle the newer kind of creative problems which were coming up, which required creative solutions. This required a newer crop of IAS officers who would possibly be creative, intelligent, and who would even handle problems for which they had not been trained by LBS Academy as such. This was a stage wherein a lot of research was done for about 10 years. And then Mr. D.P. Agarwal, who was the head of UPSC, he went in for bringing certain changes which were implemented in the year 2010. 2011 was a time when CSAT was introduced. When CSAT was introduced, the basic purpose of introduction of the CSAT was to take care that every person who enters into the whole race for civil servants in the country, this person needs to have a certain amount of potential, analytical ability, and a certain amount of street smartness, because of which this person would be able to handle newer issues which are coming up in the country. So basic amount of intelligence was getting tested for the first time. Before the 1990s, The UPSC examination was an exam which was completely focused upon cramming, learning by rote. And the biggest success rate in the country used to be of certain hostels or PG accommodations in Allahabad, I remember. And these were accommodations where the PG owner would not even teach the students. He would only give a list of books and would say, mug up these books, go to pee jao. Once you have understood all of these books and you mug them up and you spill the same out in the examination hall, you'll get selected. Surprisingly, this method was working. And this was creating people who were very hardworking. This was creating IS officers who were very hardworking, who could do all the dirty donkey work, but it was not assured whether they would be intelligent or not. CSAT's purpose was to check intelligence for the first time. And that is the role which it plays. So irrespective of how hardworking you are, how good you are academically, you may be somebody who may be lacking somewhere. I'm not saying that you may be a less intelligent person. What I'm saying is the way things get tested in case of this exam, you may possibly not be using your brain in that manner. So let's look at that particular aspect. We'll do this later on. I'll skip this also and straight away jump to CSAT. CSAT stands for the Civil Services Aptitude Test, which means it is an aptitude test for civil services. Every aptitude test, it is a modified IQ test where 70% of the questions check how intelligent you are, about 30% of the questions check whether you have the desired potential and attitude and perception which is required to become a civil servant. This is the layout of this examination. So, if I talk about intelligence and how it gets tested, you have to understand very clearly there are two ways of testing somebody's intelligence. One is a brutal way. Anyone who's intelligent will have a more complicated structure of the brain, will have something called as the gyri and sulci, which are like valleys and mountains inside your head. So if you've got a more convoluted brain, you're very intelligent. So to find intelligence of this kind of a person, I'll possibly have to cut open that guy's head, which would be a very painful process. He'll not even survive the process. A second way of finding out intelligence of somebody is, or measuring intelligence is, to find whether this person has used his or her brain so far or not. Anyone who uses his or her brain will automatically be a more intelligent person. This is the basic philosophy. So things because of which you have to use your brain, they get tested. If you're good at those things, it means you have used your brain. It means you are definitely intelligent. So let's see how the whole story starts. Immediately after your birth, your intelligence depends upon your parents, the genes that you inherit. But that intelligence is not very important because most of your intelligence develops after your birth. After your birth, you have to use your brain. And you have to use your brain first of all because everyone around you is speaking something. You hear some sounds coming out of people's mouths, but you don't know what those guys are saying. And you have a tendency to mimic people. You have a tendency to copy people. So you start as a first step by repeating whatever the other people are saying. Moreover, the first sound or the easiest sound which can come out of the mouth for a baby or for anyone is "mer." And the moment a baby, a very young baby says "mer" for the first time, mothers start rejoicing that my kid has taken my name. And they think he started speaking. No, "mer" is the first easy sound which can come from a mouth, and mothers claim this guy is calling me. That is not language. But the kid is under pressure to learn language quickly, and he starts or she starts with copying people. So the first step towards language learning is that you speak the same words which other people are speaking. Then you start making broken sentences. Then you start learning something called as grammar. And once you start making grammatically correct, sensible sentences, you also realize another emotional intelligence complication, and that is you realize that the same sentence cannot be spoken in front of everyone. The same words cannot be used in front of everyone. Even that requires a certain amount of intelligence. For example, there are about 6-7 words which you know, which your friends know that you know, but your parents do not know you know those words. You stop yourself from speaking those words in front of your parents, but freely in front of your friends, you do speak those words. So there's that intelligence which comes in. The way you talk to an elderly person, the way you talk to a younger kid, the way you talk to a very educated person, the way you talk to an uneducated person are all different. The way you talk to somebody with whom you're impressed is different from the way you talk to somebody whom you don't give a damn about. So language learning is not just about a good vocabulary, a good grammar, or emotional intelligence, there are a lot of other issues which are also involved in the whole game as such. So learning a language is the first reason because of which you are forced to use your brain. And the more you learn your language, the better you become. The easy way to check somebody's intelligence is give that person a few questions on language, and if the person can answer them, it means that person is intelligent. If the person cannot answer them, then the person is not intelligent. That is how the logic really goes. So there is almost half the paper which will focus upon language. Comprehension, reading comprehension is one component of that particular part. So almost 50% questions would look like language questions or English language questions. A problem with this English part is that English is not a mother tongue. It is the second language that you've learned. It is not the language of your heart, most probably. And if English is not a mother tongue, you are not very comfortable with English, even if you think you know English. You're not as comfortable in English as the way you are possibly comfortable with your own mother tongue. So if an IQ test is taken in your mother tongue, you will always score more. If an IQ test is taken in some different language, then your score will be on the lower side. A recent IQ test was taken across the whole country, and the score of Indians was somewhere around 82% or 82, which basically is a reflection that possibly they had less IQ than normal, which is, and the reason was it was a test in English. If the test would have been in the mother tongues of those people, then obviously we could have shown our intelligence there in that test. Apart from learning English language, another indication of reasons because of which you have to work hard is something called as mathematics. It appears innocuously, harmlessly as 1, 2, 3, 4 that you need to mug up, and people encourage you and feel happy when you start counting in front of them as a kid. But it starts becoming more and more horrible as you learn addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then things like differential calculus also comes into picture. Mathematics is a subject which progressively starts becoming difficult after the 4th standard. And there's a quantum jump in the difficulty level for kids. And a lot of kids cannot handle mathematics after the 5th, 6th standard. And when they suddenly start showing low scores in mathematics, there's a lot of pressure which comes from parents, there's a lot of pressure which comes from teachers. And usually I've seen that the mathematics teachers are slightly gruff, more angry easily. They are people who are males most of the time, and they vent out a lot of their frustration upon kids in school. So mathematics teacher is usually the teacher that people hate. I'm also a mathematics teacher, by the way. And because it's a difficult subject, because the teacher is not all that nice, doesn't smile enough, because the teacher is teaching a very difficult subject, a lot of people start developing a dislike for maths, because in schools, we like those subjects whose teachers we like. And mathematics is normally something which does not have that reputation. It's a difficult subject also. But still, because it is mandatory till our class 10th, that's the reason why we have to study mathematics. And in the process of that majburi mein padhawa mathematics, you have to use your brain more. And when you use your brain more, automatically you become more and more intelligent. Even if you hated mathematics, mathematics is the reason why you have a certain amount of intelligence at the moment. So another way of testing somebody's intelligence is give that person a few questions on mathematics. And if the person can solve them, that shows that person has used his brain and would definitely have a brain which is working properly. As a result, a certain number of questions come from mathematics also. But although mathematics and English seem to be the kind of subjects from which questions come, remember, about 70% of the questions in case of this examination are actually questions which fall into a new subject which is called as reasoning. Reasoning is not taught to you in your school and your college, but reasoning is what shows you have intelligence. Reasoning is the reason why you're sitting here and you could reach from your home or your PG accommodations to this particular place. And reasoning is the reason why you're alive at the moment. It's such an important thing. And it is not taught to us in school, it is not taught to us in our homes. But then yes, just because you're a human being, you have a tendency to use reasoning skills and become better and better with reasoning. So what is reasoning? Let's start with the first reasoning lesson. Immediately after birth, human babies normally can do 4 things. They can suckle milk, they can shit in their pants, they can move their hands and legs a little bit, they can close their eyes and open up their eyes. And a 4th thing which they can do is, while breathing, they can throw air with a lot of force out of their lungs, and a sound comes out which is called as crying. Crying is the 4th thing which a kid can do. And human babies, in the first 24 hours after their birth, they normally do all of these things randomly, which means food is offered to them, they will suckle milk, they feel a pressure in their tummies, they will shit in their pants, etc. And once in a while, they will keep checking their hands and legs also, although they're not very strong. And they will cry also. But within the first 24 hours, human babies are so intelligent, they realize that out of the 4 things which I can do, the magical thing is crying. The moment I cry, an army of slaves collects around me and they start taking care of me. They hug me, they kiss me, they mess up with my hair. If I'm feeling hungry, a food will be offered to me. If my clothes are soiled, then they're going to change my clothes. And if I'm getting bored, they're going to sing songs and act like jokers in front of me. And in case the room is too cold, they'll possibly cover me with a quilt. If the room is too hot, they'll do something to the room because of which the room becomes cold again, etc. So human babies understand very quickly during the first day itself that crying solves problems which you cannot solve yourself. And this is the first reasoning lesson. Human babies who don't cry, what happens to them? They die within the first 3 months. So crying is not a drama kind of a negative thing. Crying is something which keeps you alive. Crying ensures that people come to help you at a time when you need help and you cannot take care of yourself. Some people learn this lesson so strongly that they keep on crying throughout their lives. And they keep on taking help from other people. They take undue advantage of crying also. So crying was the first lesson of reasoning that you learned. And think, you learned it in the first day of your life. As you grow older, you keep on learning more and more lessons of reasoning. And reasoning basically means you observe what is happening around you. And based upon that, you take a decision that this decision is going to solve my problem. You realize that when I have a certain feeling in my tummy, then that means I'm hungry and I should get food. This is reasoning. Whenever you feel thirsty, you think about drinking water. Whenever you're feeling cold, you move towards a place which is warmer. Whenever you're feeling hot, you do something to take care of that. So reasoning is something which solves your problems. If you're standing near a building and you see a flower pot falling on your head, you do not keep on looking at the flower pot only. Instead, you know what's going to happen if you remain there. So you move away from that place. That is reasoning. If your age is somewhere around 20-25, then you've actually learned all the rules of reasoning. What you need is, you just need to see by what kind of questions is this reasoning tested. In those questions, you will realize there will be some questions where you will even be better than your teachers because you have a knack for doing those questions. There will be some questions where your brain will not work, or the way your brain works doesn't work upon those questions. Those are the questions where you need to change the way you think, and you automatically end up becoming good there also. Reasoning is not something to get scared of because it's a new subject. Reasoning is something which I assure you, you know completely. You've been using all the difficult rules of reasoning also. The only thing which you have to do is get an exposure to questions, see which questions you're getting right, ignore them. Whatever questions you're getting wrong, that is where you need to learn the right way of cracking those questions. So, language, numbers, reasoning, these are what appear upon this examination. Plus, if somebody is very intelligent, you and I, normal people, we've got an IQ level of around 80 to 100. People who are very intelligent, who've got an IQ above 150, they would automatically behave different from us. They would handle things in a different manner. The different way in which very intelligent people think are called as hallmarks of intelligence. This is the fourth thing which gets tested. In this exam, there will be some questions which will check whether you behave similar to a very intelligent person or do you behave like a normal person. Based upon that, you end up picking up the right answer or you pick up the wrong answer, or you get attracted towards the wrong answer or the right answer. So broadly, these four things get tested. But CSAT, because it's an aptitude test for civil services, it also has to test you for your decision-making skills. It has to test you for your honesty, integrity, sense of fair play, and your uprightness also. You have to have a certain amount of awareness and a sense of English language. Only then you can crack this kind of an examination. This is a layout of all the years since the time the examination started. Since the time the examination started, there have been a maximum number of questions on comprehension and upon basic numeracy. The number of questions vary also. They are not this fixed number of questions every year. So the number of questions in case of comprehension vary anywhere between a 27 to a 32. But they are fixed. They don't go away. But you will look at other topics such as, say, a decision making where questions appear and then disappear also. And the topic also disappears, which means this is a topic which comes once in a while, but can come. It's part of the written syllabus. You can also see that although interpersonal skills and communication skills is a topic which is part of your written syllabus, but no direct question has ever been asked upon this area. Now, if no direct question has been asked and still it is part of this syllabus, it basically means this is a topic which is the mother's topic as such. It is a topic in which you need to be good. Only then you will be able to understand questions, you can crack them. So interpersonal skills and communication skills is an integral part of your syllabus. It is not something which the UPSC has not revised. UPSC revises everything every year. But if they have the name of this particular topic as part of a syllabus, it means they are checking this topic through different kind of questions. So there may be a question of comprehension which actually checks you for interpersonal skills and communication skills. So you cannot ignore this topic also. You need to have a clear sense of this topic as well. Then you can see that there's a constant number of questions which come from logical reasoning and analytical ability. This is pure hardcore reasoning topic as such. A lot of questions which appear on general GMA and basic numeracy are also pure reasoning questions. So you need to know mathematics, no doubt, as a first step. But then in order to handle the kind of questions which come out in the exam, you need to be good at reasoning skills. Is there any question which you would like to ask at this stage, looking at this layout of the paper? Okay. Attempt this question. You got 3 minutes. This is the first question which UPSC revealed about basic numeracy. And it is not a mathematics question. It's an English question. Needs a bit of mathematics also, obviously. Yes, okay. What's the answer? D. Okay. This question can be solved by you and you can end up arriving at different answers depending upon where you made a mistake. You can make mistakes at various stages. So let us see what is the reaction of a student, different kind of students upon this question. A student who has a fear of mathematics will look at this huge long question with some kind of data given here and some kind of a diagram given here, and will get scared even more and will decide, don't touch it, don't even read it, just move away. This will be a horrible question, which is a mistake, because it is actually a question which even a 4th class student can attempt. Whatever is being tested here, a 4th class student can handle all that stuff. So this is one reaction. Second reaction is somebody who reads this question carefully and then starts solving the question. When UPSC uses this sentence saying, consider the following statements, it basically means you are supposed to consider a statement which is 100% correct without a doubt. It should be, must be true. So first statement out here says the money spent on food over rent in the month of January is the same as the money spent on food over rent in the month of February. Now, if I look at the values for difference between food and rent in the month of January, then food and rent are 30% and 20%, which basically means we are talking about how much? a 10% here. And then it says the same as the money spent on food over rent in the month of February. So food over rent in the month of February is 35 and 25, which means 35 minus 25 equal to how much? 10. Very easy. We don't even need to use a pen and paper. So there's a 10% here which is being talked about is the same as a 10% here, which looks okay, sounds good. And the only problem is percentage is actually a ratio. It is not a total quantity. And although this whole big question gives us a lot of data, but it still does not tell me whether the expenditure in the month of January is equal to the expenditure in the month of February or not. Yes, no, it doesn't. If I don't know the exact value of total expenditure of January and February, then I cannot compare a 10% of January with 10% of February, which means if I talk about the 10% of January and 10% of February, they may or may not be equal. January's 10% may be greater, equal to, or less than the 10% of February, which means first one is maybe true. And maybe true sentences are not to be considered. So first one goes out. Suppose you're so good that you could realize that there was a trap here. As a result of that trap, this first statement is actually an incorrect statement. You may feel so happy that data is insufficient to pick up the first sentence that you may happily think that the same applies here also, because it is also asking something similar. And a person may end up picking up D. Delhi as the answer, thinking both of them must be wrong because data is insufficient, not given to us. But the problem is, second statement is saying the money spent on food over rent in the over clothes is same as money spent on food over rent in the month of January. It is only talking about January. If it is only talking about January, then I'm comparing a percentage of January with the percentage of January, and I don't need to know the value of the overall value for January. That is the reason why if I start calculating it, rent over clothes is 10%, and same as money spent on food over rent. Food over rent in the month of January is how much? 30-20. Again, 10%. So 10% of January is equal to 10% of January, as a result of which the second one can be considered. So the right answer out here is B, Bombay. Second only is correct. Now, can you subtract 25 from 35? Yes, no? Yes. Can you subtract a 10 from a 20? Yes. This is one thing which is required to do this question. Second thing which is required is you need to understand that percentage is a ratio and it is not a total amount. Unless and until total amount is given, you cannot talk about amounts as such. This is the second thing which is required. Third thing which is required is you need to be comfortable with basic numeracy, and you need to be somebody who's not scared of looking at a long question of mathematics. So give questions a chance. A lot of questions do not ask you for difficult concepts. A lot of questions will use tricky language to make them more difficult. If you can simply read them carefully, understand them properly, you can possibly crack almost all the questions, but it requires a certain amount of patience and exposure. So basic numeracy questions, they will look scary, but they will be easy on concepts. They will not test you for difficult mathematics. There may be questions which do not require a formula at all, but a sense of mathematics still is required. There are questions in which no formula is required, but still formulas may have to be learned to develop a sense of mathematics. So your accuracy depends upon understanding confusing language, taking care you don't make silly mistakes, you don't make silly mistakes in the calculation steps, and you need to be somebody who is very comfortable with calculation in the first step, but at a later stage, you have to become somebody who doesn't have to rely upon calculation during the exam. Because the more calculation steps you have in while doing a question, the more chances of making a silly mistake are there. And you need to understand at what speed do I solve questions so that my accuracy does not get affected. This is what is possibly required here. Look at this question. Take 2 minutes here also. I'm expecting an answer from you. I'll tell you what can happen when a student looks at this question. This question does not require you to have any conceptual knowledge. This question does not require any formulas. And when students look at this question, then the first thing which they do is they smile and they take out their pen and they start counting number of triangles. The only problem with counting triangles is that if you are counting triangles, then you may make a mistake of ignoring a certain triangle when you are counting it. Or you may count a certain triangle more than once. This question is not about counting triangles. This question is a hallmark of intelligence question. When a very intelligent person looks at this question, he's going to plan handling this question. He's going to go slow. He knows all questions carry equal weightage. So every question has to be given the same amount of respect. And when he or she looks at this particular question, they will first of all analyze it to see that there are triangles of different sizes, 2, 3/3 size, 4th size. There are 4 sizes of triangles. Second thing which he'll analyze is some triangles are pointing up and there are other triangles which may be pointing down also. So he'll take a step which looks like a cumbersome extra thing to be done, but ensures that you can do this question in less than 1 minute still. He'll make this table. 4 sizes of triangle, number of triangles pointing up, number of triangles pointing down. Now this big question has been broken up into smaller questions, and now you can even double check upon different parts of your question to ensure that you can maintain accuracy. Once you've counted all triangles of various sizes, which is not a difficult step, then you just have to add them up, you end up getting your answer. This ensures you will not make a mistake. This ensures you will not forget what has been counted and what has not been counted. So this is a hallmarks of intelligence question. This has nothing to do with syllabus. This has nothing to do with anything else. I'll just do one last question. I'll skip this one. Do this. You'll enjoy doing this. Have you at least read the answer choices? Depending upon your personality, you would think in a certain manner. UPSC is looking for people having a certain kind of personality, a particular personality which will make them a good potential IS officer probably. So you have to exhibit the perception and the way of thinking and the attitude of somebody who is a good civil servant in the future. All of these answer choices, the A, B, C, D, all 4 answer choices, they reflect a certain personality. And based upon which answer choice you get attracted to, it shows what is your present position. At the moment, you are people who think like an Indian citizen. You love your country. Your country is the most important priority for you. But at the same time, you do not love your country the way possibly an IS officer loves. In the 2 years at LBS, when the training happens for IS officers, they end up getting brainwashed into believing that their existence is because of their own country, and their only job in this world is to take care that they do something to make the lives of Indians better. This is the brainwashing which they get. As an IS officer, what is the role of an IS officer? Let me ask you that. What does an IAS officer do? Why do we have a post called as an IAS officer? The whole country has been broken up into smaller parts. Each of that part is ruled by an IAS officer. So IAS officer is like the king or queen of a certain area. And the reason why he or she has been made the king or the queen is that this person is going to solve the problems of that area, will be responsible for the development of that area. At the same time, he will not ask for help from the central government. This is the role of an IAS officer. So IAS officer is supposed to be an independent king who doesn't need anyone to supervise him or her and takes decisions at his own level with priority of country and solving the problems of the country. So let's look at answer choices here. If you look at the language of the question stimulus material here, it says that you are district magistrate of Dehradun. You've been asked by higher ups in the ministry to take care of a foreign dignitary who has come to your area, and she has to be kept happy probably. The foreign dignitary is in the country to ink some important international economic deal with the Indian government. So you have to take care she doesn't get angry, and you have to be a good host for her. But she shares with you that during her visit to Wuhan, she really wants to do a little bit of poaching there, which is illegal in your country. She tells you that poaching of animals is illegal in the country, though the Ministry of Environment and Forest kills deer every year, kills deer, elephants, etc. every year. Why? Because the numbers grow too much and we cannot handle them. So that culling is done by the Indian government, no doubt, but still it is illegal for anyone else to kill any wild animal as such. So what would you do in such a situation? If I look at answer choices, A answer choice says, even though hunting deer is illegal, but looking at the sensitive diplomatic situation and the fact that deer are not endangered animals, you will make arrangements for a discreet or a hidden safari and hunting expedition for the foreign dignitary. What does this show? This shows you disregard laws of your own country. But if you are king and you're disregarding laws, then you don't deserve to be the king in the future. So A, which shows compromising upon ethics and laws, is something which is a perfectly wrong answer, even though it looks like a practical answer. We are not looking at practical answers. We're looking at an answer which shows that this guy can become a great IAS officer. If I look at B choice, it says, you tell the foreign dignitary that you cannot permit any unlawful activity in your area and warn her that you will keep an eye on her during her stay at Mohan so she does not indulge in poaching by bribing the local forest rangers, which is a possibility. If this person is loaded up with money, this person can possibly bribe someone to do poaching there. But when you say this to the foreign dignitary, will the foreign dignitary be happy? No. Possibly that would mess up the situation. And the person may even decide not to sign that deal, which is good for your country. I don't know. This looks good because here you're following rules of the country. At the same time, you're doing things which look impractical to a certain extent. So I'll just leave this answer here. You look at C choice, it says, you get in touch with higher officials of the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Environment and Forest to get directions for the situation. This looks like a very practical answer. This is the answer which shows that you should be preparing for an MBA entrance exam, because managers are of this particular type. Managers are told, don't take decisions at your own level, always take team decisions or put the gun on your boss's head, always. But this is not what is expected out of IAS officers. IAS officers, if they are kings and queens of the area, then they need to be independent in the first place. If they are independent in the first place, will they get in touch with their bosses? No. They've been made IAS officers so that the country can forget about that particular area because this guy is properly handling it. So this shows incompetence. This shows that you don't have that fierce, independent streak inside you. So C is definitely a wrong answer. This guy shouldn't become an IAS officer or has to change himself or herself. D choice says you ask her to submit a written request and you will process the request with due diligence. IAS officers are accused of 2-3 things only. They are people who are called as status quoists, which means they don't change things. They don't do creative things. But that's not the case. The country is progressing because of them. That's a second allegation upon them is that they normally are bureaucratic. And the word bureaucratic means they take a lot of time to take decisions. They don't take decisions, or they create hindrances. You go to a government official and he'll say, take this application, make 6 photocopies of this, fill up all of those applications, send 1 copy to that guy, 1 copy to that guy, 1 copy to that guy. When everyone signs your application, then I will immediately sign your application. But this is another way of saying, I really do not want to do your work. This is called as red tapeism, technically. In Hindi, it is called as Lal Fita Shahi. And red tapeism is a process where you don't do work by creating bureaucratic hassles as such. So A, C, and D are wrong answers. B is actually the right answer. If you pick up B as an answer, you show that you are ethically right. You are somebody who follows the rules of the country, and you may have a small doubt that what will happen if this lady gets angry and she doesn't ink this deal. If this deal is all that important, in that situation, you will get a letter from your minister who will tell you what all things are permitted and what all things are not permitted while keeping her happy. If that is not mentioned here, then B is 100% right. And it is 100% right because that thing is not mentioned here. So B becomes the right answer. It shows the kind of decision-making skills that you need to have. I have still not taught you the main area which I teach, which is comprehension. To teach one comprehension question, I take about 18 minutes of background knowledge so that you become capable of doing the same question yourself in 2 minutes. So we'll not touch upon that. You can ask me questions if you have. And this is where we stop. Ask me questions which you have in your mind about your preparation. What is your impression about CSAT? Easy, difficult? What is it? Ask me, it is easy. 2 minutes. It takes 2 minutes. हाँ, तो इसका मतलब कॉम्प्रिहेंशन क्वेश्चन में इशू नहीं है, हमारे समझने में प्रॉब्लम है, हमें समझना जल्दी पड़ेगा. एक बुक लिखी थी एक अच्छे मैनेजमेंट कंसल्टेंट ने. देयर वाज अ कंसल्टेंट, ही रोट अ बुक बाय द नेम ऑफ हाउ टू ईट एन एलिफेंट. So what is the way to eat an elephant? You have to cut it into smaller pieces. So comprehension questions require that you eat all the rest of the pieces during your preparation, and at the time when you go to the exam, you have to just look at a small piece which has to be eaten in about 2 minutes time. It takes 2 minutes to do a comprehension question by the time the exam comes. Initially, I tell my students not to worry about time because first step has to be to learn how to do the questions correctly. Once you've learned how to do the questions correctly, then after you've done a little bit of practice, you will automatically end up getting your questions done faster. And time is not an issue on the CSAT. Honestly, if you are managing your selection of questions better, then you get about 3 minutes per question or even more at times, because there are some kind of questions which can be done in 1 minute, which gives you more time on other questions. Comprehension questions should be done in a time duration of 2 to 3 minutes on the exam. Before the exam, while you're preparing, when you start your preparation, you can take as much of time as you want. You have to be somebody who's good at vocabulary. You have to be somebody who's good at grammar. You have to be a good reader also, extensive reader. During your civil services preparation, you'll be studying from so many books. Automatically, you'll become a good reader. And then you need to have a certain kind of focus, which is called as critical reading skills, which we will learn in classes. Once you develop critical reading skills, then understanding a difficult passage becomes easy, is something which can be handled easily. So comprehension, which has anywhere between 27 to 34 questions, is an area which is doable. It is not a scary area. It may look scary because you have not learned the basics. In case of mathematics, when you get a question which says what is 2 plus 2 equal to do this question, you need to know 2 things, 3 things. You need to know the sequence of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to know what is addition, and you need to know how to do calculation. If you do these 3 things properly, you can get an answer, and you can even fight with your teacher if your teacher gives the wrong answer. This is a situation in case of mathematics. It is very objective by nature. A 2 plus 2 will always give you a 4, and you develop the ability to do these questions if you just learn 3 things. Nothing else. In a similar manner, reading comprehension also requires you to learn certain formulas and things. You need to know how to read the passage, which is to be done through a method which is called as critical reading. You need to be somebody who knows how to map out the passage, which is the second thing. You need to be somebody who understands that passages belong to 4 different categories, or 4 genres of passages are there. There is narrative passage, there's something called as expository passage, a third type of passage is argumentative, and a fourth type is analytical. A lot of these 4 passages can be abstract passages also. So in a way, you can say there are 5 kinds of passages. If you can identify which kind of passage you are handling, then you will automatically understand the challenges which are there in that kind of passage and what kind of questions can come from that passage. So handling a passage becomes easier if you know what kind of passage are you handling in the first place. This is a third thing. Fourth thing is the total of 36 types of questions. You need to be good at identifying which kind of a question are you handling, and you need to know the keywords to identify the question type. Once you identify the question type, every question type has a different strategy to handle it. For example, there are some questions whose answer is written clearly in the passage. They're called as specific questions. There are some questions whose answer is never written in the passage. They're called as further application questions. There are some questions whose answer is written in a single sentence of the passage. These are specific detailed questions. There are questions whose answer is spread all over the passage. These are called as general questions. So once you have these tidbits in place and you've done the right amount of practice and you've shown what kind of problems you're facing, then it's not a problem to handle this area. Comprehension is an area which can be converted into a strength easily. It does not require too much of practice. So if you compare your preparation for GS paper 1 with paper 2 does not require 10% of the preparation of the GS paper 1 requires. At the same time, more people get rejected because of CSAT paper than because of GS paper 1. Understand that also. So your preparation has to be balanced and you have to understand where the problems lie. And I liked what Swami sir just said while talking about basic numeracy, that people who look at previous year questions have to understand that these questions are not going to come in the exam now. What is going to come would depend upon the syllabus. What would come in the examination would depend upon the trend to a certain extent. At the same time, every aptitude test has a 10% component which is in the form of a surprise, which happens in case of your paper 1 also. So you have to be ready for surprises. And when you have got to secure somewhere around passing marks in case of paper 2 in CSAT paper, then looking at a target of 40-45 is something which is doable. You are the kind of students who've got about 80-90% in your class 10th and 12th board exams. And now when you are being given a target of a bare 45%, then I think that is doable. When I say that the level of mathematics in case of CSAT paper is below the level of class 10th, class 10th has more difficult mathematics as compared to the CSAT paper, but you need to understand what is difficult for you. There may be a topic which others say is easy, but if your brain is not handling that topic well, then that is the most horrible topic for you. So whatever is difficult for you, you need to work upon that. Whatever is a weakness for you, you need to work upon that. Whatever you are automatically good at, you need to leverage that strength of yours and not worry too much, although you have to keep the polish on that particular topic also. That's how it is done. Yeah. They're part of critical reasoning. You need to learn something which is called as the argumentation method. You need to learn what an argument is and how to break up an argument. An argument has 3 parts to it, and assumption is the part which is not mentioned there. And then through 4 methods, assumption has to be found, either through a mismatch method or else by a simple causal method or by a reverse causal method, or there's a 4th method which is called a dumb method. So your verbal part, your English part is actually as objective as maths is. The way mathematics has got formulas which you may have seen in your school years, in a similar manner, English has formulas which have not been taught to you. Put it that way. Your school teachers have taught you how to read a particular chapter, which is like a story in your notebook, and how to answer long questions based upon whatever you have studied in that chapter. So there may be a story about a certain king, and then you are supposed to answer questions based upon that story. That's the kind of English which you've been taught. You've been taught reading comprehension, which is completely different from the reading comprehension which appears in case of this exam. So your school exams have actually taught you to analyze, interpret, over-interpret the passage. At times, it even encourages you to do philosophy. And I use a beautiful Hindi word, which is jhakmari, which is not permitted on this IQ exam. IQ exams require you to be somebody who answers questions based upon the information given. If you use any information from your own head, from your own memory, or if you over-interpret the passage, then automatically you're going to pick up a wrong answer. You'll get attracted towards a wrong answer. UPSC will create questions having certain answer choices which are trap answers. They are very attractive answers and they're wrong answers also in the first place. Chalo, we stop here. I'll give you my name and phone number. In case you have a question, you can always get in touch with me. This is my WhatsApp number, my normal phone number. And this is my name, which you already would know. As many as you should require. See, in this particular batch, your batch, CSAT batch, I have the freedom to teach you till the time you require it, till the time I think you require it. So we'll not only have sessions to teach you, we'll also have sessions where there may be a special problem which only you face, nobody else is facing that problem. Then I will have to sit with you one-on-one. So I not only take doubt classes here at the center, I may take a doubt class on Zoom or whatever is the method that works for you. So there's nothing like a limitation on number of classes. So we'll not go into the numbers. Teachers require more time if they have to be satisfied in terms of teaching whatever they want to teach. So I'll ensure that we cover everything in detail. We'll learn how to read, we'll learn how to handle various kinds of questions, how to identify them. Then I'll start doing questions in chunks, and later on I'm going to give you a mix of questions and see where you're making mistakes. You will also see where you're making mistakes. Based upon where you're making mistakes, we're going to focus more upon that area. That's how we'll proceed. So there's about 37 sessions which I require mandatory to teach you everything which I want to teach you. But that is not a limitation. Can you get? Yes, you will get live recordings also. When you attend classes, you automatically have access to the recordings as well. So you can refer back to them as many times as you want, possibly a certain number of times. And they vanish also. After a certain period of time, say about a month from then, they'll vanish because we do not want you lingering upon them also at the same time. We'll prefer that you attend all classes on a regular basis, attend all classes on an offline basis, and in situations where you want to revise something, you can possibly refer to a recording, which would not be a problem, don't worry. You'll have access to all the content. You'll have, towards the end, as the topic gets completed, we'll have topic tests. Then we are going to have tests which would be full-length tests. I'm not calling them mock tests because mock test is an examination which is like an examination which is going to come. Before that, for the satisfaction of the teacher, I would like to give you something called as a full-length test, in which I test everything which I've taught you, and wherever I see you lacking upon a foundation part or something which comes in the examination also, I'm going to point that out to you. The same thing will happen with your maths teacher as well. Right? Hello. Bye. See you.